Welcome to the Multiboxing Podcast, episode 8. We have special guest with us today, Tone. So we have a lot of things to talk about today, actually. So we're going to talk a little bit about the new stuff that came with the reset. So normally we do this on Monday, but then we'll get into some Q&A with Tone, get to know him a little bit better, the man, the myth, the legend. And then if I feel like we're going to run out of time, but the two dungeons for this week are Halls of Atonement and Theater of Pain. We actually each picked one. So Daze picked Halls of Atonement. I picked Theater of Pain, but we'll get into that later. And then if we have time, I really don't see us getting to this. But I think we're going to cover a lot of this kind of in some of the Q&A because I think Toned really does a lot of things uniquely. And so I'm really excited to break it down. But we're going to be talking a little bit about the multi-boxing mechanics. So Daze, if you want to get us started, what's new this week? I mean, there's a lot, right?
Yeah. All right. I mean, I guess I talked about it a little bit before, right? But we got the Mythic just came out, and I know a lot of people may be watching this right now, and the Mythic World First Race, but it's kind of a big deal. I always enjoy it. It's become a lot more popular actually too recently.
Yeah, they really hype it up on Twitch nowadays.
Yeah.
It's finally generating revenue, which is exciting for the game.
No, for sure. It's been such an untapped potential. I mean, they could have been around for such a long time. So I'm really excited about. I've been kind of following it. I've been mostly following it via my phone, not really watching it enough, just because at work or whatnot, and then come home and do this. But it's just fun to see people really pushing the envelope, and it's pretty difficult content. I mean, a lot of it too. There's some content in there where I was like, man, I wonder if you could just multi-box this. Like if you just had like insane skills, but they've made mechanics in there that are literally just anti multi-boxing. Especially the seventh boss that just came out. There was something where you had to pick a partner and clap your hands. I don't know, something crazy like that.
Oh, that boss is really annoying actually.
Yeah,
I did that on normal yesterday.
On the regular one, and then I guess you have to you have to circle each other and then stay distant, and you have to find your partner in the process. It's a
Yeah, so you get chained to a partner, and then you have to stay within 12 yards of one another while dodging mechanics. The mechanics aren't super hard, but it's just a lot of movement for being chained to someone. So any ability you're used to using, like blink, or I had a warrior kill me last night because he decided it would be a good idea after the knockback to charge back in and just killed us both.
I mean, this is where you hit your follow key and you got this.
Yeah. You probably could multi-box this fight if actually you could probably just multi-box this fight, I think. Yeah, I could see somebody doing this on 10-man on normal pretty easily.
Really?
But I used to triple box the heroic Nyalotha, the first few bosses. It wasn't too bad, but even each of those had a mechanic where you'd have to pay attention to who got what abilities for the whole raid, because you wouldn't know necessarily if it was on A, B, or C of your characters. And then you'd have to hard swap. It's I found it more frustrating than I found it rewarding, but that trinket was really good, so I liked it.
So you went through the mythic. You did you full cleared the whole normal, right, on a solo character?
Yeah, I did normal last night.
Did you get any loot from that?
I got a few. I got the cloak off the boss right before Denathrius.
Yeah.
But I actually I ran into an issue. So there was a bug yesterday on the reset where your loot was basically shared lockouts. So if you did LFR, then all the bosses that you did LFR on, you wouldn't get loot in normal. So I totally got screwed out of 3 or 4 bosses last night.
Oh yeah. I saw they hotfixed that. It was probably too late at that point.
Yeah, I was one of the affected few.
Dude, your luck is amazing. You should be buying lotto tickets. You get hit by everything.
I've had the worst luck with loot this expansion. It's crazy. My chest this week was I had one chest from rating, and I had 2 from Mythic Plus. My 2 of the items from the chest were pants, which I have the legendary pants, and then the other one was a versatility mastery ring. So I was I guess I'm taking the versatility mastery ring.
Is that no good for holy paladins, or
mastery's the second best secondary stat, but it was 100 versatility. I guess it's not terrible, but if I'm going for a ring, I'd probably choose my 2 best stats.
I gotcha. Okay. So that was the overall the mythic rating is going on right now. It's probably gonna last. I'm gonna guess probably 2 weeks. I'm thinking. that they're gonna do.
I don't think it really ever goes beyond a week at this point.
No. I guess
Jaina was a pretty interesting race to watch last expansion.
yes, yeah.
I think even Jaina died in the first week, though.
No, I think it was two. No, there was a reset or something. Yeah, there's
was
not
it
two,
like on the reset or something?
Yeah, it's always on the reset because there was the big. There's that big
reset.
issue where the limit was supposed to win that fight, and they chose to power through instead of doing another heroic. Or no, to re-clear. They could have re-cleared and got better gear and done it, and they chose not to. Whereas Method, now Echo, did a full mythic re-clear instead of like saving their instance. And
well, there still is Method. Don't forget, Method is still a guild.
Yeah,
but their rating core is now Echo. They're still doing well, actually. Yeah, they're like 5 or 6.
Yeah, I agree. They're actually killing some mobs too, which is interesting on there. So anyways, that's the mythic thing. But for mythics for us, for multiboxing, that was like kind of like our number 2 item here is that there's a weekly class. I didn't even know they were doing these emissaries anymore. I thought callings kind of replaced this or something, but I guess not. So the weekly this week is to do.
So they're actually calling it emissaries now, but before the emissaries were the world
that's right.
class.
That's right. So
they changed the names on us.
But so this one's called emissary, but it's like the weekly quest.
Callings are the emissaries, and now what used to just be the old weekly weekend event quests are now moved.
So now they're emissaries. Yeah. So exactly. But with that, do 4 of them. If you can, if you wipe a bazillion times, it doesn't matter, right? As long as you can complete 4 different ones, on the mythics, you will get a heroic level raid level item on that character. And if you compute on all 5 of them, you're playing 5 characters. I mean, it's a massive upgrade. I'm gonna
Halls of Atonement.
Yes.
Highly recommend you start there.
Yep.
I did it with item level 140.
That's a kind of an insanely impressive.
Which is like impressive in its own right.
I didn't even touch anything at 140 like that low. So that's
crazy to prove a point.
that was it.
He just wanted to prove he could.
The prop paladins
are
a little
bit of a flex, but no, I did it with a Trinity setup.
Okay.
I did it both to flex, but also where people were saying hardware multiboxing is going to be dead in Mythic Plus, or like, oh, only Druids. I'm like, all right, well, I just did it in literally quest gear 140. Yeah, I died 3 times, but it wasn't because of gear. It's because I suck at lining up that little pillar at the end.
Yes.
Once I was lining up off the boss when I spreaded, instead of lining up off the pillar. Once I saw that, I was like, all right, easy kill. I killed it without bloodlust.
How many does he do? Does he do 4? I thought he did 5. I think he only does 4, doesn't he? Like little
He
beams?
does 4. Okay. 1 for each pillar.
1 for each pillar. That's what it is. Okay, yeah.
We kind of just jumped into the dungeon tactics, but hey, there you go.
Yeah. I was trying to figure it out because I thought it was 5, but then I was like, that doesn't make sense. Yeah, so it's 4. Okay.
I think too, like with back to like the
follow, you come right up, line up on that pillar, and then do your spread out macro. You'll hit all 4 perfect, and your tank just stays in the middle.
Yeah. As long that's important, guys. Make sure you watch the spread out macro, the formation. Do some kind of make sure you have a formation macro that turns into a star. That's the play. Sorry, go ahead, Zoc.
Oh, the only thing I was going to add to that is even if you can't multi-box 4 mythics, I definitely recommend doing 4 mythics, even if it's just like on your tank or like maybe your DPS.
For sure.
Yes.
100%.
Yeah, for sure. Your tank. The tank is. It seems like your tank is the most important person to be geared out as well. Overall, it seems like. I mean, just because the damage that tanks are taking at the moment with the gear level, you just take too much damage. Especially
like prop paladin, which has been the meta. And I actually put that in this list like last minute. I just slipped it in there. But like, what about Vengeance Demon Hunter right now? Like, do you think that's going to shift to be the meta? What are you using right now, Toned?
Prop paladin.
Yeah, prop paladin has so much utility, but
prop paladins are broken. They're the most overpowered tank.
They have a lot of.
If you know how to use them and gear them, it's insane what I can do with them. I've finished off a mythic boss while my DPS were dead from like 40%.
But I remember doing that like last season in BFA when I like first got started. There were so many bosses like as I was learning them where I would just like solo like the last 20% on my paladin tank. Like
we call it yellow bubble. That's how you win.
Yeah. Yeah, they just never die, so long as the damage isn't too high. But the damage like reduction on prop paladins seems like a little off right now. They don't seem like very good at the mitigation as much.
I hope everybody thinks prop pallies suck, and I'll keep laughing as I'm just crushing stuff with mine. I'll talk about my gear setup when we get to that.
They're doing good though.
Right gear, it's insane what you can do with a prop pally.
Yeah, they're doing. I mean, they're getting publicity though because like there's people like Rex Troy and then a couple other people are posting. You know, they're getting articles on Wowhead where they're clearing the other side with a paladin solo mythic with no weapon. They just did it with a shield.
I saw that.
So I mean, they're getting a little bit of like publicity on that front, but yeah, Vengeance Demon Hunter like is the one that's currently like king for Mythic Plus, as well as rating too. I believe a lot of the top tier rating guilds at the moment are using one Vengeance Demon Hunter and one Brewmaster. And I think mostly the Vengeance Demon Hunter 2 is because Havoc Demon Hunters are just not DPS kings anymore, and you need that 5% magic debuff. So I've been trying to work the Vengeance Demon Hunter into some of my comps, and I think it would work for Trinity, but like Tone was saying, the Prot Paladin though just brings way too much utility. Like it brings way too much other stuff to the table that you miss out on to help your team stay alive.
When you can cheese mechanics,
Yeah.
like you can throw out cleanses, you can throw out freedoms, you can throw out Blessing of Protection on your healer, you can solo the raid / dungeon.
No, it's pretty clean. So.
I usually basically end up with a healer, a tank of every type at max level, every expansion, and then I have my 300 DPS, and then I have either a prop pally setup, a DK setup, and then a mixed caster team and a mixed melee team, so I can try to play the meta game of finding what's the best, and then I stack that really hard.
Yeah. So do you? I guess we can get right into that then. Like on that piece, like so when you figure out the comp, like you typically don't jump around. Then you just hone in on that one team and play that team to like to max it out, I guess.
So I'm not doing competitive arenas as much as I used to. So when I was doing that, 100%, I try to perfect it. Since Mythic Plus became a thing, that's kind of been my focus on WoW, because I have less free time and I can do Mythic Plus without anybody but myself, right?
Yeah.
And so I was running Legion and BFA, 5 prop pally teams became my main team. And then I would mess around on the Trinity after I did my weekly keys for the prop pallies. I actually got to the point where I started pushing a little bit higher content with the Trinity team.
Okay.
So
gotcha.
This time around, I was planning on doing Druids, but you did Druids. And so I was like, all right, we need more data points.
We do need data points.
Because my thought process was like, I know prop pally works. Druids you're going to be doing, they probably are going to work. So I'll go mess with Trinity, and then we'll both, try to find comps, because we just need more people pushing content.
Oh, for sure.
Because if we all show up as Druids and they do one massive Druid nerf, like the whole community is like, so what are we doing now, guys?
It's like, I guess we're going back to farming, guys.
Yeah, it's like stand still with lootering.
That was oh shoot, I was gonna say something now too. Dang it, I had it right on top of my lip. I don't know.
Were we gonna talk about Shadow Priest? Because boy, am I ready to talk about Shadow Priest.
Yeah, I've been playing with that. It's on my to-do list. I don't know if they're going to be able to push high-end content personally.
Probably not. But if there's anyone that's like willing to try something stupid and waste a bunch of time, it's probably me. So, yeah.
I would love to be wrong, because Shadow Priests are just fun to play.
Yeah. I'm more about the fun right now. Although I know that that's going to kind of change soon. The nice thing about Shadowlands thus far is that like it's super alt friendly. There's like almost no content at endgame that's required week to week. Like
it's amazing.
It's awesome.
It's having tons of fun. Yeah. I don't even worry about renown. They just randomly drop off.
Oh, exactly.
Dungeons. I'm like, this is awesome.
Yeah. So, and then Torghast, it's like, I guess if you're pushing for your legendary, like that would be a good point. But I think like myself, my own strategy, like I'm not even going to go after Torghast on my priests until I feel like the team is actually viable. Like it'd be a total waste of time to do Torghast on them. But then like you only have to push up to the layers once. And I'm at the point now on my Paladin where I've decided like I'm only doing 2 runs of Torghast a week or 2 clears. Like if I fail, then I'll do another one. But I'm doing 2 a week, and like I'm behind and I don't really care at this point. Like whatever, because it's just so time consuming.
I jumped into Torghast hard because I had to wait for some hardware to finish showing up. And I saw a legendary for Paladins that I'm like, this is basically required for multi-boxing. So I went and got it on the first week.
Yeah.
And so I solo leveled my Pally to 60, waiting on hardware, did Torghast, got my hardware set up. Now my other group's at 60, my whole Trinity set up. So now I'm gearing them. I've got Druids in the works, but then I'm also messing with one of my mixed caster teams. But time for me is not nearly what it used to be. I'm kind of busy now.
Are you
Yeah.
cross-pollinating that paladin, or do you have two different paladins?
I have 10 paladins. So I don't
So the
remember
answer
what
is
the
the
boss's
latter.
name was. Remember that dragon in Legion? I used to 10 box that thing, the raid.
Is it
I didn't play
the
Legion.
first one in Emerald Nightmare?
Yeah, the one in the nightmare
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah,
and she
yeah.
was like laying on the ground. I can't remember the
Yes,
name.
yeah, you know
I
what
used
I'm
to
talking
just
about. Yeah.
clear that every week for free gear while I was gearing up.
No, that's really nice. Yeah, I know DKs were really popular during that time too. The blood DKs, they could
Yeah,
tackle it.
I've got 5 of those from the glory days of Arena.
Yeah, actually, so on the paladins though, like in terms of that, like on my side, I'm looking at my character login screen right now. I have 3 different paladins on my main account because I tie them to a group basically, due to hive mind. Are you gonna run into that same issue, you think, or no, or you don't care about the hive mind?
So I don't have a hive mind yet, but I
Okay,
do have long boys, so I can be a mobile auction house for anybody.
yeah,
Um, but what I've kind of done is I've got one account that is my tank account. I've got one account that's my healer account, and I've got 3 accounts that are DPS accounts. And that's how they're mostly laid out. And then when I run 5 times a thing, I just stack them across the other 4.
I gotcha. Okay. So I think we jumped a little ahead though, like.
Yeah, we jumped all over the place.
Yeah,
He made
So
this
it's
agenda,
probably
and we're
partially
like,
my fault. I should
shit
probably.
all over it.
no, that's okay. So I guess let's do like a formal like introduction for you though. Like I guess give us like like your history, real quick. If I'm sure a lot of people in the chat probably already know, or have heard of you, but um,
So I've been doing multi-boxing for 20 years.
yeah.
So it's been pretty nuts. I started in EverQuest. I was, let's see, it was what, 2000 when I think I started boxing there, but that was like 6 accounts, alt tabbing. Like I would have 3 computers. I put my tank and my healer on the middle computer. Then I had my enchanter and a DPS over on the left, and I had 2 DPS on the right. And it was like get aggro, cast a complete heal, quick, cast some debuffs, go back, and just did that. Because my brother and I started out playing EverQuest together. We got into it because my mom and stepdad at the time actually were into EverQuest.
Oh, that's awesome.
Then my brother was like, yo, I'm going to college. I'm going to sell my account. And I didn't want him to sell his account. So I sold my fungi tunic for like in-game plat, gave it all to him for his account. So I still have my brother's account. But he ended up selling all his EverQuest stuff, and he bought a BMW at like 20 years old. And so I was like, there might be something to this. And then that's what actually got me into figuring out how to code for obvious reasons, but we'll just gloss over that real quick. But because of multi-boxing and EverQuest, I got into software development. So I've been doing that for years. I run a cloud company now. I'm CTO there. But where we started in EverQuest was just regular, normal, try to do it's a 6-man group there. So tank killer, 4 DPS, but one of the DPS is actually an enchanter or a bard for CC. Then mana burn became a thing. And there was like, I can't remember the math. I want to say it was 8 wizards or 6 wizards. If I mana burned a boss, I could literally just one-shot it. So I made 2 mana burn crews so I could rotate cooldowns. And I was used to run around on Val and Zek, which is the PvP server. But I would just mana burn mobs, and I was selling epics to people for plat like crazy. So that's kind of what I got into it. And then my EverQuest guild at the time all decided, let's go to WoW. And I really didn't want to. But so I went over there. Of course, they picked Alliance, which was like the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
No.
And so we played that for like a year. And as soon as I started out as a rogue, and I did PvP there, pretty competitive. I was doing the Grand Marshal race. And then I started seeing like, oh, stealth mining and picking boxes. You guys remember flipping instances, and you used to be able to make gold that way?
Yeah, I remember
Well,
that actually. I haven't thought of that in years. Wow.
Yeah, so that's where I started. I used to do tons of stealth mining. I used to do stealth farms, and then I used to go into Blackrock depths and like stealth mine ores and stuff. And then I started getting into twink PvP, and I was stealth mining and also doing like the whatever those enchantments where you could get like the 100 hit points to the head and helm back in the day, or sorry, legs and
Yeah,
helm.
the Librams or whatever they're called.
Yeah, the Librams, exactly. And so I started boxing a stealth crew, which was like all druids and rogues. I had 2 rogues, 3 druids, but I was doing it all by hand. And then that was right around the time we transitioned to TBC. I started kind of going down the path of like, all right, I guess I'm doing PvE boxing because it was fun. Ale started releasing videos, and then Veronica started releasing videos. And that's when like I had access to shamans. So I started some Draenei shamans. I was like, this is pretty cool. But then my guild fell apart. So I was like, and we're Horde. And so I've been Horde ever since.
Yeah.
And then I've actually raided quite a bit as a multi-boxer. I did ICC 10-man heroics and 25-man heroics as a boxer playing 4 shamans. I used to get dislodged foreign objects on all my shamans, and then I was doing like high-end 3v3 on multiple teams. So I was doing 2K arenas like that. But it was really once arenas came out, that's when I got deep into boxing WoW. And I started doing it like full time. And then you saw what happened when Death Knights came out.
Yeah. It was
so
nice.
like, I don't know. I've been doing this so long. I have a pretty long background on this.
No, it's
and then
good.
like my
it's good,
icon
though.
on dualboxing.com is a Frost Strike icon. I got a purple name. It's all from PvP. I used to write a bunch of guides. Like I was just looking through some of my past posts. It was pretty funny.
I used to look up to you like back in those days. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
this was like 10 years ago,
guide.
8 years ago,
like 2010
12?
to 2012,
Yeah.
probably. And then 2008 is when I was probably doing it the way Ale was doing it. But I used to post guides like, hey, if you're new to DKs, or hey, if you're new to shamans, and I was like, here's all my macros, here's all my layouts.
Yeah, it's evolved
And
so
then
much.
I used to kind of play with like Lax and those guys in EverQuest indirectly for other projects, and then he started Innerspace. So it was kind of cool when we came over here and I saw him there. I was like, oh, sweet. So it's kind of crazy how small this community is.
Yeah.
And then I took a break from EverQuest for a long time, and I got back into that. Now I'm rating EverQuest. Yeah, the game's 20 years old and I'm still playing it. I don't know why. And then I box like my own raid, so it's pretty fun. And then on the WoW front, basically since I want to say Warlords of Draenor is the last expansion that I raided in a Mythic guild, and it's the last expansion I worried about boxing raids, because once Mythic Plus came out, I didn't care about raiding anymore. But every expansion from launch all the way up to Warlords of Draenor, I've multi-boxed in raids. And it has always been 4 shamans or 4 hunters. I went 4 hunters in Warlords of Draenor. So like I've done raid level content. I've done PvP. I broke 2K in both 3s and 5s multi-boxing. 3s was really hard.
Yeah.
But it was doable. I just needed Shadowmourne DKs.
So on the rating part, it's always been tough because you have to find the right guild that will like give you a shot. You know, it's always
how I
like
solved that problem? I'm always the guild leader.
Oh, that works too. That's just like people that say they can't get in Mythic Plus groups. They're like, well, you need to make the group. So that makes sense on that front. But yeah, I've had that issue in the past too, where they're like, you can bring one character. It's like, I want to bring the whole team, you know, and then it's like, I don't know, you go back and forth, and you have to get your opportunity. And if you mess up once, then they're like, but I guess.
So I was in one guild during ICC where I wasn't the leader, and they ran 2 teams. And the only reason they were able to run 2 10-man teams, remember when 10-man and 25 were different lockouts?
Yeah.
I do remember that. Different loot table too.
Yeah, so I was running the 10-man crew, like the B group, and then the other group was running the A group. So they'd let me 4-box in there. And because I would 4-box in there, like we did Lich King in the whole bit. I think I got the world first ICC multi-box kill for both Lich King 25 and 10.
Nice.
I don't see anybody else doing it at the time.
Probably.
Like Defile was interesting. I also used to hit dungeon content the second it dropped and try to hit as many world firsts as I could. But that other guy, because I was running 10s, he let me 5-box and 25. So I was getting heroic 25 dislodged foreign objects on all my shamans. It was freaking awesome. It made PvP so easy. You just pop that thing, hit an EMCL, and it was like, bye.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's still a thing, right? Like the raid trinkets to some degree. I mean, generally it's not until the last tier where they're actually like super strong. But like there's always like raid trinkets that are just so good for PvP. So if PvP is like your main focus, yeah, like the strategy is either to get like a single character in and do it like multiple times, which I guess in 2v2 or 3v3 is not too bad, but if you can box it, that's great. I personally don't think I have like the patience to like go through all of that, because I feel like it would be a lot of like convincing people or like just a lot of overhead and all that I don't know that I'd be like willing to deal with. So like
I almost went as far as getting the legendary staffs on my shamans just to flex. because we were boxing it then. My wife at the time, she's not my ex-wife, but we got her a staff, and then the Warlock in the guild, we got him a staff. And then when the new raid came out, I got my Rogue, the Legendary as well. So that was weird, boxing a Rogue with Shamans running behind him. It got to the point where it was almost stupid. Like I would sneak up, cheap shot you, and then just hit you with everything from the Shamans.
That is pretty sweet.
It was pretty fun though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember this is going way back now on this there's this comment though, but we're talking about PvP and everything. PvP gearing up right now in Shadowlands is really good, to the point where it's almost
it's
it's
awesome.
almost like too good, where
especially if you have 3 druids.
Yeah. but if you can actually get the rating right, and you can get up to like the 2200s or something like that, which for boxing a little difficult, but if you could do as a solo player, apparently right now you could get a 234 weapon off the Great Vault via PvP. Like you get the weapon and then you can upgrade it with conquest points. Yeah, so there's people that are in the PvP realm that have better weapons than you can possibly get doing PvE at the moment.
So Zach, you any good at PvP? I feel like we have a 3s team right here.
No, but I would definitely be down to try 3s
on that. Yeah,
we could probably figure something out.
I don't know how well I transfer to solo play. There's a chance, right? But yeah, overall though, the PvP community is very appreciative of it though, because it's reinvigorated that market quite a bit.
Oh yeah.
It needed
I tried to be a pro gamer before it was cool. And one of the teams that I was on, we hit high 2000s and 3s, and then our hunter sold his account. And then another team I was trying to get on to the BlizzCon race, and we were running 3s. I used to play WoW like 18 hours a day. And do you remember the year that Wings of Liberty came out, where they shrunk the WoW tournament pool down?
I remember when Wings of Liberty came out, but I don't remember them shrinking the pool down.
So for the BlizzCon tournament pool, they shrunk. They cut the region size in half, and we finished in what would have been the old region, so we could have gone to BlizzCon. And then because they shrunk it, we missed out. That's the closest I've ever been to being like a pro WoW player.
Oh, that would have been awesome though.
So yeah, after that, I was like, all right, it's time to get a job. And then my wife got pregnant with twins, and I was like, all right, I got to really like stop trying to be a pro gamer. Now I've got the 2 kids. They're 12 because I got identical twin boys.
Nice.
They're playing Fortnite pretty competitively. Like I get them signed up for DreamHack every week.
Yeah. They
usually finish in like the top 3%. So that's pretty good.
That's
like my basement is literally a gaming paradise for kids.
That's kind of what happened, right? Is that I feel like our generation, like Zach, you're getting included here, but like we were too early.
I'm with you guys. We're all millennials, I think.
How old are you, Zach?
I'm 30.
All right. See, I'm only 34. I'm only 4 years old.
Yeah. See, we're all. I think, Dave, you're like 36, right?
Yeah, I think so.
We're all millennials. It's all gravy.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I feel like we were too early, right? Like the Twitch didn't exist back then for the exposure and things like that. It's not fair.
Like I won some Mortal Kombat tournaments as a kid and got like a controller. I won some Halo tournaments and got like an Xbox. See, I was like, kids now, they win a tournament and they get like 10 million. I was like, yeah, something's not right here.
You need to run with that, because I think you're going to start streaming.
We're the lost generation.
So my kids have Crazy Lincoln TTV and Crazy Parker TTV as their handles, and then I've got crazyclan.gg that I'm trying to put together a team.
Okay.
Right before COVID became a thing, I was actually trying to start an Overwatch and Fortnite league for kids. Imagine like Boys and Girls Club, but with software developers and gaming.
Yeah.
And then COVID hit, so kind of glad I didn't make the hardware investment, but I haven't given up on that. I'm trying to get into getting kids into competitive gaming, because a lot of parents are like, oh, competitive baseball is okay, but it's like, dude, competitive gaming is a thing. Like there's scholarships now, teaches good leadership skills. I feel like part of the reason I'm in the career I am is because of gaming, between software development and then like I used to lead 300-man EverQuest guilds. Like we would be doing raids 100% text. This is before voice. And the first time I remember when TeamSpeak came out, and then everybody in my guild had that epiphany that their raid leader is like 13 years old.
Dude, Nihilum, like Kunjin used to raid lead like back in BC, like all through raid warnings. Like if you ever watch like the old videos of like their first like Mag Theridin kill, you just see like raid warnings just like scrolling all through the screen. Because I don't think they even used
exactly
like
how we did it.
Yeah, and but this was like 4 or 6 years after that. So like, yeah, it's crazy how well that stuff worked.
I can type like 200 words per minute. My team thinks it's the craziest thing they've seen. And I'm like, dude, you used to have to do mechanics and type instructions. That's what I had to do.
Yeah.
I'm
In
basically
fairness,
a product of the internet.
in fairness, though, right? Like you also have to have you have like an innate drive that allows you to like expose that or be exposed through that. And so I think that gaming is like great in that regard. But I totally get why some parents would be like, oh, like gaming's not necessarily like a great use of time for kids, because if you don't have like that drive, like you can build the skills, but at the end of the day, like drive is like almost innate to like human beings
Oh,
or
yeah,
like
100%.
individuals.
I can teach you anything, but I can't teach you how to be passionate, right?
Yeah, or care or try. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all passion to me, right?
Yeah.
It's like when I'm hiring employees, like I'll get a junior dev fresh out of college, I'll level them up. But if they're not passionate, I can't do anything. I'll take somebody who's never coded before, but if they're passionate about it, I'll teach them.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with gaming, right? If you're not passionate, you can't do it.
Yep.
So like, look at how much we've done, like this group of just the three of us and the others on the community, like Wooten, let's just give him a shout out. Like the amount of passion people have, like they changed the rules. We're all switching to hardware setups. We have full guides, compatibility lists, and it's all community driven. It's not because people are doing it for any other reason besides they're passionate about it.
Exactly. I like that it's a hobby like that too. I agree.
It's totally a lifestyle, man.
Yes. Yeah.
I definitely feel like I definitely feel like the community's like embrace over hardware has definitely like pushed me to do it more as well. Like I've been like, before I was like, I kind of want to do this, and now I'm like all in. Like everybody else is investing, and I'm like, I'm in. I want to be there. I want to like do this, and like I'm really excited for the future. That there's gonna be tons of competition.
So Ele or Multi Days or whatever you want to call him as elder millennial boxer, he pulled me into the 5 Shamans with his videos, right? And then, through some small back channel alley deals, I sold him some BlizzCon tickets and we met once upon a time. And when this hardware change came out, I was pretty pissed because I'd already pre-ordered Shadowlands. My kids decided Shadowlands is when they wanted to get into WoW. I was actually planning on quitting WoW. And I was like, this will be the first expansion I don't actually play. That's kind of a weird feeling. And then I saw what he was pulling off. I saw what the community was doing, but I was like, I need somebody to prove this. And then I saw his stream and I was like, fuck it, this is what we're doing. I dropped $4,000 a couple weeks ago. I got my setup and I'm smashing stuff again. So it's working.
It feels good.
So that's twice you've pulled me in.
I know.
So.
I feel like I'm such a bad influence. I had this horrible thought with the wife because I'm like, I'm getting a lot of direct messages from a lot of people that are saying like, I'm going all in, I'm buying the hardware. And I'm like, man, please Blizzard, just be nice to us just for a little bit, give us a couple years of like,
exactly.
Don't do this to us again.
I won't hold it against you. It'll be fine. I'll just send you an invoice.
There you go.
So I know people are always asking about my setup because like I do not use Gse like at all.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I could do it. I mean, I have a coding background, but the reason I did my setup the way I did it is back when IS Boxer and key maps were like brand spanking new and you could do like virtual key maps. I saw the potential because like I'm a developer at heart, right? So safe and repeatable is my number one thing. With how many characters I play and swap between trying to find like what's the best PvP comp, what's the best this comp, I needed a way to templatize my setup. And so what I've done is I have the same muscle memory for every group I play. I don't have to change. I don't have to adapt at all.
That's super
same
important.
buttons. So the way I did my layout is like the F keys. So F1 through, I'm on a keyboard without F keys, F12, I believe. On the bottom action bar, I bind to that. And then the bottom right action bar, I use numpad. And then on the sidebars, that's where my DPS rotations go. But like, I can tell you on any team, F8 always going to be Bloodlust, whether it's a drum or a pet ability or Bloodlust. F6 is always going to be where I pop my cooldowns, right?
Yeah.
F3, F1 are always going to be these survivabilities. So I kind of laid that layout out. But then, like how I do DPS rotation, we can call it face rolling, right? So when I press 2, it's the same thing as pressing Control 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. When I press 1, it's the same thing as pressing Alt 1, 2, 3. So you can see how that works, right? And so 1 is my AoE rotation, 2 is my DPS rotation. Then on the side, I made GSEs were, I guess all the cool kids are doing, but when the millennials were running the internet, we didn't have those, and we had fall through macros, right? So I've spent time simming my setup. I feel like I do 500 DPS, sometimes up to 1,000 more DPS than GSE with my setup. Because I tried GSE in Shadowlands, and I was like, I see potential.
It's flawed in a lot of ways, yeah.
Yeah, it's
I was
very
like, I don't have
simplistic.
time for this shit. I'm going to go back to what I know works. And so, like, the way I have it set up, it's basically an assist button, because I'm lazy. And then the first slot and the last slot, I put my priorities, like my shield throw on my paladin or my hammer throw, right? I don't use ability names. That's like knowing lore and WoW. I just don't know them. And then I know like judgment and stun, right? So I have that rotation. And then some of my buttons are cast sequence. So I might have one button that's like a steady shot, right? And another button that is like, actually, bad example. I'll have like an arcane shot button. And then I'll have another button that is steady shot, 2 arcane shots, steady shot, and then another one that's steady shot. So basically, I'm not just spamming steady shot. This cast sequence waits for at least 2 arcane shots, and if there's nothing else to do a steady shot. So that's kind of how I'll do like a hunter setup. My healing setup, I think, is where most people are interested. I don't focus heal. The only feature that I'm missing right now in my hardware setup that I missed from Iceboxer is mouse overlays and mouse broadcasting. Because I used to drive from my tank and click heal off my healer, because click healing is the way you heal as a solo player. It's just way more efficient.
Oh yeah.
I did that for a long time, actually. It wasn't for a while that I switched to focus healing, and I had more success with focus. TBC. Yeah, I had more success with focus, but I also switched my healer. So I think switching my healer was more impactful than switching to focus healing. So I'm actually excited to go back to mouse over healing.
So the way I'm going to do mouse over healing is, so I've come up with a setup, right? So I run 3 cams. I'm waiting for my third one to set up. I kind of had this aha moment last night or the night before after my multi-viewer set up. So right now I actually have healing rotations that are almost like auto healing for all of the healers. There's a little bit of manual intervention for specific abilities that I don't want just firing off, but like my disc priest, my holy priest, I can pretty much auto heal just like as I'm DPSing, I'm healing. So, for example, I've got one that does power word shield on target. I have one that does renew on my tank. I have one that does circle healing. And so as I'm mashing, it's popping stuff off. And then I got one that mashes binding heal. Binding heal's broken right now. Highly recommend using it if you want to use a holy priest. It's stupid how easy it is right now. And so what I'm doing is, because casters can't cast while they move, but hunters can. So I don't just burn my mana bar. You'll see me like sitting there strafing back and forth with my arrow keys while I'm DPSing, and then I stop when I want to have binding heals cast. And it's working really well. And the binding heal goes off target, so that does that. When I'm doing my druid, that one's a little more complicated, but not really. Basically, I have it set up where I roll hots on the main target. I auto cast, wild growth, and then efflorescence. I have a macro that's just cast at player, so I drop efflorescence on the pile. I do the same thing with the holy priest. I drop the power ward, whatever that healing splash crap is, on top of the group automatically. Because if you do at player on target clicky things, it just drops it at your feet, so you can predict it. I do the same thing with hunter traps. Like when I press the button, I'll drop a tar trap and like 2 freezing traps. I can fling them with my mouse now as well. I've been trying to perfect that. Trying to use those to make trash better.
That's the abyss right now. The best in slot for hunters for DPS is the throw a tar trap and then throw a flare on top of the tar trap. So it's gonna be interesting.
I'm trying to figure that whole spill out.
Yeah, it's going to be like an at cursor kind of combo. I'm not sure how it's going to work, but I was like, let's see what the other legendaries are. Maybe we won't get Biss.
So I'm not using any legendaries on my hunter yet. They're not old enough yet, right? They're only like a week old.
Yeah.
In Shadowland terms. But the thing that I'm going to do now is so I have 2 keyboards. I've got the main keyboard, main mouse. They're plugged straight into the tank. I don't do any replication. That's just how I drive, talk shit in your stream and stuff like that. Then over on the second keyboard, that keyboard is into a single cam only, and it broadcasts to all 5 clients. Or when I say clients, I mean physical computers.
Yeah.
I don't want Blizzard coming in saying, "Oh no."
You should just say endpoints instead. Just keep it like really.
Yeah, I'm gonna say endpoints or boxes, right?
Yeah.
So it broadcasts to the 5 boxes. Then I have a second cam that I plug my mouse in, but it only broadcasts to the slaves. I know it's 2020. I shouldn't say that word, but that's what they are. They're the slave boxes, right?
It is
And
tough.
so
It
it's
is
like,
tough.
yeah, like when GitHub made master branch, main branch. Anyway, not to get political, but
Yeah,
it's just
yeah.
terms, right? So I have on my keyboard, I have two keyboards. One does my DPS rotation and it broadcasts. I got a mouse for my tank to drive. I'm like doing hand gestures. I don't know if you can see them. Then I got another one to the right of me that is just, yeah, I'm literally like mouse here. That mouse to the right of me right now is just to the healer computer. And so I can mouse heal. It's kind of clunky. And then to the right of that is a third mouse that is to the slave boxes so I can loot and click and do other stuff, target traps and stuff. So what I'm planning to do, tomorrow my third cam shows up. I'm going to make the second mouse broadcast to the tank and the healer. So I'm thinking I should be able to drive and mouse heal.
That's an awesome idea.
Oh, yeah.
I love that
Yeah.
idea.
And
As
so I
as
should
long
be able
as
to do auto healing and mouse healing.
the issue I had is with the synchronization of the mouse, though, it seemed like you can only play like they have to be the same resolution screens. Like they both have to be a single
All my
screen.
screens are the same resolution.
All right.
Yep.
And you're only using a single screen on your main computer, not doing like two monitors or anything?
So I've been testing this.
Yeah.
So I think you've seen I have no problem with monitors. If I need to throw a healer monitor, I'll do it.
I guess you could just add one to it, I guess, would make it easy then too, yeah.
But now that I have that multi-viewer set up, I've been testing it. My aspect ratios are the same. I use the same UI scale. It looks like the mouse stays in sync.
Yeah.
I'm going to try it some more. But yeah, worst case scenario, I'm just going to throw another monitor in the mix.
Okay, yeah, that works. You got it, yeah.
One thing I was thinking, because I was thinking of doing something pretty similar, I was like, I've used focus healing in the past, but I'd like to use focus more for like follow and other things, or try to maybe assist or something. I kind of want to free up follow or focus, but I was thinking about doing the same thing and having like my tank on like one monitor, my healer on another monitor, and my slaves like multicasted to a third monitor. And then that would just get rid of like that would get rid of that like aspect ratio concern. And I like to drive from the healer in certain fights. And have the tank be independent. So having like that separate keyboard that's just the tank, like kind of allows that movement to be a little bit smoother as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just drive from the tank. The only time I use focus is in PvP, and I'm not doing PvP as much anymore because that's how I do fast swaps, right? So I'd have my whole layout to DPS my target with focus list, target list, leader list, right? But then I would have a second button to do my whole rotation on focus. So at the start of the fight, I'd pick somebody, make them my focus, start doing DPS into somebody, and then start mashing my focus button. So I just switch like that. The healers couldn't see it coming. I'd like obliterate people or freeze them and obliterate them or hit EMCL off the focus target.
Well, I recently learned that what competitive PvPers do is they have the macros targeted at the arena slot. So you can actually and they do it that way.
So if you go read my early guides from back in the day, all of my buttons are based off arena slots.
Okay.
So
yeah.
I would have arena slots and party slots as a solo player, but then as a multi-boxer, I had 5 characters, right? But in a lot of times, I got to the point where I couldn't get above 2K without another person, so I started getting somebody to heal me, and then I'd play 4 DPS. And so I would set up like Hex, Purge, Interrupts, where every single one was assigned to their own number. Like this guy's always going to interrupt 1, this guy's always going to interrupt 2, 3, and 4. And then all of them had to check if my target was dead. They'll all interrupt 5. So that's how I handled doing it. So I didn't do it that much, but I've really not seen a need for focus. But I'm really thinking about trying focus healing after I'm seeing what other people are doing. I haven't used focus healing since the Burning Crusade.
I thought focus healing honestly was a really bad choice. Like overall, like people were like, "How do you healing?" Like, because I don't see you clicking anything. So I made that video in BFA to like show people like, "Hey, this is what I'm doing." And I think I even made a disclaimer. I was like, "I think this is probably the wrong way to do it because the click healing seems way better." But people were like, "Oh, I like that." So I don't know. So I guess I'm going to try to take credit for it, but I still think it's probably not the most efficient. But it works. It works well for me.
So basically, you know how you got like home, end, page up, page down, like that little 6 box? That's where I'm thinking of making. Right now, it's how I snap between windows with the mouse if I need to with the shift modifier. But I'm thinking, the first key will be clear focus.
Do you do that with your left hand or your right hand when you're going to do that? when you're snapping?
A lot of times right hand.
Okay, so you take your hand off the mouse to snap and then back on. Okay, got it. Okay.
But I mean, because I'm not usually snapping in the middle of combat, so like now that I'm only focused on PvE, I might get back into PvP. We'll see if Shadowlands gets me back in there. I just get too competitive, and
it's fun. It's a little too fast paced at the moment, but it's fun.
I like fast paced. That'll be fun. But like, it's more just time, man. I'm running a company now. I'm not just like a content contributor on a team. Now I'm like, it sucks. I just work all the time. But where I was getting at is, if I do that, I could have like clear focus, and then home is like the tank focus, and it's just in order, right, by their name. So I can toggle the focuses real quick. And then I think I could even make my healing setup a combination of my auto healing setup plus a couple of those buttons will be focus buttons. I don't know. That's kind of my next thing to try.
Yeah, no,
I'm really hoping
that's the best thing about this, though.
Yeah, like I think 3 KMs is the play, right?
Yeah.
That KM that's tank and healer independent, I think, is going to be the secret how I get back to click healing like efficiently. Because right now when I click heal, I'm tanking with my left hand. I'm healing with my right hand, but I have to slightly look over and make sure I'm clicking on the right spot on my screen on my priest. And I don't know if you guys use Voodoo. I think it's the best click healing add-on there is.
I just started using it. I love it.
I've been using it for years, right? So Voodoo I have blown up. So the boxes are like freaking this big. So like hit the big pink thing is not hard to do. Yeah. And so like when it's in multi-view mode, it's like giant team bar and I just got to click it. When I put it in full screen with the remote, it doesn't look as ridiculous. But if I was streaming my box, you're like, dude, why are there these giant team tiles? I'm like, well, that's because I got to hit that with my right hand while looking over here and dodging mechanics with my thumb, right? Because I can strafe my minions with my thumb while I'm doing DPS.
Yeah.
It's all messed up.
No, like kind of to circle back at the original thing though, it's really good that you're trying these things though, because like we need more data inputs to see what works, what doesn't work. And I've almost gotten into like a groove of what's working for me, and like I feel like I'm not trying in a lot of new things at the moment, like because it's it's like, all right, this works. Like I don't want to break the mold.
You're like, I have hive mind, I have 5 druids.
Yeah.
Success.
Yeah, exactly. It's tough.
I know how to cast Convoke Spirits.
Yeah, I can push the button.
Yeah, exactly.
Please don't interrupt me. Let all the spells go off. And also don't.
I'm actually more interested in getting away from my healing priest because, in the end of BFA, I started swapping my Resto Druid in for my priest in my Mythic Plus pushes.
Yeah.
And I haven't played a shaman in a while. I'm thinking maybe I bring a shaman back off the shelf.
They're super strong right now.
Yeah, their
really mastery
strong.
Is like so OP.
Yeah,
that's what I saw. Right, so I was like, do I really go level my shamans that have been collecting dust ever since Draenei or Warlords of Draenor? I don't know.
LA would tell you no.
Yeah, I saw him. Like it was horrible. But it looks cool.
No, dude, I'm missing something though, because I did the world boss with the shamans yesterday. I think the new one came out, the one that's in the Night Fae place. That's also an important thing too. Make sure you guys do your world boss today, or not today, but this week. Just do it every week. You get a 207 potential drug.
Yep.
But the top DPS in that thing, it wasn't crazy high DPS too. It was like the person, anyways. It was an LA shaman. They did 2.5k DPS, and like. I chatted with the person afterwards. I was like, hey, your DPS is pretty good.
Their gear?
Yeah, they were eye level 194, which was a little higher probably than
that's a lot higher, but it's not insane.
Yeah, and I was like, what is going on? And also their highest DPS thing was lightning bolt, and I was like,
yep,
none of my characters have lightning bolt as the highest. Like, what's going on? So I just asked for the rotation.
Lightning bolt.
Yeah,
lightning
exactly.
Bolt. Remember that
video? the first live action RP.
Yeah, the LARP guy. He's like lightning bolt. He's like throwing
those aluminum
I thought it was fireball.
Was it fire?
Or was it lightning bolt?
I think it was lightning bolt. I don't know.
I think it was lightning bolt.
Yeah.
It was funny.
Yes, it was funny.
Because then there was the frost shock stuff too, and that's why my name became Lawlshawk. That's literally how I got it, because of that frost shock video. If you guys remember that.
No.
Yeah, I also remember the Moonfire one where the guy just put like 1 million Moonfire buttons on his screen. Those are good times.
There was that issue in not issue, but there was that, I guess you could say, feature in BFA where Moonfire was the most efficient DPS that you could do.
Dude, it was crazy.
You stacked like Azurite traits for it or something, and you just hit Moonfire.
You stack Azurite traits, and you got the talent where it would spread to nearby targets. And you could just be like,
Yeah, that was
I
it.
have this game, and you just jump up, just bind everything to Moonfire, and then just run around.
It worked. It worked well. So with that, there's something I feel like I'm missing. I don't know if it's gear or what, but I feel like the elemental shamans are still good. I want them to work. I want something to work besides druids too. I know druids are
There's
good.
nothing cooler than 4 chain lightnings and 4
Yes.
chain hills going off.
It's
It looks so cool.
it's
Remember
very,
we
yeah.
used to like make spread out macros in cities and make like pentagrams and stuff with
Oh, yeah,
our
with the chain
hills.
hill, yeah. Now it's just this like watery, like translucent thing. It's not.
I kind of miss the old puke beams.
You like them?
Like the new animation
I
looks
miss
cool,
the-
but it's not the same.
Yeah, I miss the 5 crit totem stacking too. That was so awesome.
Oh
in
yeah,
PC.
totems. Well,
I used to
totems.
box Karazhan.
Totems were so amazingly overpowered. The grounding totem, the original grounding totems.
Oh my god, grounding totem was where it was at.
Yeah, they didn't go away. Like if you didn't, you had to directly target them. So like a warlock would try to throw a dot, and the totem would eat it, and it wouldn't make the totem go away. It would just stay there.
Yeah.
And they
And
stacked.
they finally nerfed that to at
Yeah.
least just absorb it.
Yeah, that was super. I remember that actually. That was
It was
ridiculous.
extremely strong. But okay, so before we like we miss out on our different things here, let's talk about the 2 dungeons that we got going on here. So I picked Halls of Atonement, and Zach, you picked Theaters of Pain. So we're going with Halls of Atonement because this is like the dungeon. I feel like this is the best multi-boxing dungeon probably.
That's the starter dungeon
Yeah.
for sure.
For sure.
You guys both picked my 2 favorite dungeons this expansion, so I was like, this is a good episode.
Theater of Pain is not my favorite.
I liked the Zav the Unfallen fight where you have to fight yourself. That one was really fun.
I haven't.
Let's do we want to do Halls of Atonement first?
Sure, yeah. What's your strat on Halkias, the first guy on there? And his abilities are a little different on Mythic than they are on
I think he's
non-Mythic.
actually easier on Mythic than the others.
He is. I agree. He is, especially if you don't have
you
a
just stay inside that little ring and you don't
Yeah.
get feared.
right. Exactly.
So it's like, well, we're a multi-boxer. I mean, I do a little bit of I'm paranoid, clear the whole room trash so I can have the whole room to move. But yeah, I just pop Lust and kill it.
I think this
Yeah.
this is actually a super melee friendly dungeon in general, but I think that this fight particularly also is good for melee as long as you clear around the boss.
Yeah.
Because you can just move and kite. Essentially.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. You just kind of move. You keep kiting away from wherever
You
he's
just
throwing.
kite
his-
the rooms where he
Yeah.
throws out the pukes. You stay close enough together that nobody goes outside that ring.
Yeah.
The little star pukey beam thing that just wrecks your shit if you don't get out of it, that's the hard part of the fight.
Yep.
It's
So-
like Gunker, but like much easier.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
agree because you can because
Like,
on Gunker
It's the
you
same
had to stay
fight,
melee.
but much easier.
If you
Like,
if you left
way
melee
easier.
on Gunker, you wipe the you like wipe basically because he would do like a super powerful ability. They don't like it.
So when I did my 140 eye level run, it was Halls of Atonement was the first one I did. And this was the boss that I messed up the little pukey red beam thing, and my guys all died, and my paladin's like, I got you, bro. And he's like, hold my mouse. And just finished it.
that's the way to
Yeah,
do
because
it.
he doesn't really do much. Like
No.
he doesn't do a lot of tank damage. It's basically just I don't know. I don't know what they were going for on this boss, but
I'll take it. We
it's not hard.
we need a freebie,
Dude,
right?
you need a good starter dungeon.
Yeah.
Because if there's no dungeons that people can boxing will die. And then, like, remember when Kata came out, how hard instances were in Heroics? Heroic Kata instances were nuts.
Yeah.
People were up in arms. So, like, having a couple freebies, I'm cool with it. And it's a fun dungeon. Like, visually, it looks awesome.
Yeah.
I love all the Revan Draft stuff. Like visually,
exactly.
I
They did
absolutely
such a
hate the
good job
zone
with it.
though.
Yeah.
Like I hate the
Yeah,
zone, but visually, I'm about it.
Yeah. They did a great job with, like, their whole vampire theme.
All right, so let's jump to then the second boss, which I'm still actually trying to work out strats on him. I know what you're
Echelon or
supposed.
whatever?
Yeah, I know what you're supposed to do. The stone gargoyle, but
I actually don't know the mechanics of this fight. I
Yeah,
just
so what
kinda
do you
show
think
up.
the mechanics are that you're supposed to do? Let's start there. What do you think you're supposed to do?
so it's a little okay, so you basically fight him, right? He spawns a blood pool, which is almost equivalent
Yep.
to the first boss with the
Yeah.
degrees,
Yep.
right? So you dodge your
And the
guys out of
little
that.
gargoyles.
But then the
Yep.
little dudes pop out like his ads, right? But do some of the ads
Yeah.
cast or are they all melee?
They seem to all be melee from what I've picked up.
Okay, yeah. So you basically want to kill them as a pack, and then he basically targets somebody in the group, and he jumps on that person. You want to have that person where the little dudes are at, so you basically pop them to explode them, or else he'll make them respawn, and then you'll have too
But
many.
when he
ads.
lands on them, right?
Yeah.
So what turns them into stone? Is that killing them, or is that when he lands on them?
It's killing them.
Because
Yeah.
I've kind of just done burst on this
That's-
guy, and I'm not
that's the
quite sure what the
problem.
mechanics are.
Exactly, that's the problem. Is I've bursted him down.
Yeah,
And so
it's all actually coming back to me.
Yeah,
Sorry.
sometimes he would randomly like freeze the gargoyles. I was like, cool. How do I do that?
Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah. So
And then
he
I
he
just
brings him back
stack
to
up
life.
and
Yeah.
then AOE heal it. So I stack up, get out of the red shit, kill the boss, and then whatever happens with the other guys, when they spawn, I throw some shields and some consecrations and just keep DPSing, and it's pretty easy. You can do it without lust.
Okay, yeah. So Jabbery and chat kind of cleared that up. So they actually are, some of them are casters, but there's a delay before they start casting.
But I have a prop pally with Divine Toll that just throws shields everywhere, so I probably don't notice it.
Yeah, like Divine Toll probably just completely wipes it out, makes it like a non-issue. I mean, the fight's not hard at all.
It's going to be tough. I really want to see. I want to see the Divine Toll, because I thought
I think Echelon is going to get really hard at high key levels.
Yeah.
Yeah, the gargoyles might become a problem.
This week is going to be an issue that we'll see very quickly, because it's tyrannical.
The boss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And apparently on higher keys, the bosses are lasting really long time. Like we're talking like 3 minutes on bosses or longer, which is not good for multiboxing at all. Like we like 3 minute fights are just too long typically for some mechanics to just.
Maybe this is the level of the tunes weak and skip tyrannical if you can't get through it.
Yeah.
You know?
It's also if you're high enough, it's a storming week too, which is a very new affix, which is a no go for melee. If you're multi-boxing melee, for ranged it's actually almost a freebie, but
yeah, exactly.
For melee it's not.
Okay. And the high educator Elise.
Yeah.
Super simple fight, super simple mechanics.
Yeah.
Stand behind the little canister guy. The spirit comes, it hits it. Strafe out of the red shit. That's the whole fight.
Is it a DPS check though? Because I feel like if you use all 4 canisters and another one spawns, I mean you're kind of like.
So I popped lust on this one because I don't want to take that risk. But earlier today I did it on Mythic, and I tried it without lust.
Yeah.
And you are correct. When I got to the very end, there was like 15% left on the boss, and a thing spawned. Luckily, it targeted my tank, so I just kind of ran around in a half circle, DPSing and finished the boss.
Oh. Wait, Jabbery's giving a correction. He says the canisters do respawn. I wonder how long it is. I don't know.
It's got. I don't know.
It's got to be a while, maybe.
Used my 4. It might have had another one. The other side of the thing, but
either way,
I just did
is
one
good news,
half
though.
circle, and the thing was dead, so it wasn't a big deal.
Okay, when the 5th one comes out, it'll pop one. Okay, well that's good because it still feels like a GPS check, but actually I usually pop Bloodlust on him too, because the last boss you don't need it as much. So the last boss is Lord Chamberlain. Which I thought was going to be an insanely hard fight, but like you had mentioned before, as long as you have some kind of like formation key to make your character spread out appropriately, when he moves the gargoyle statue things in and throws them out, you're good to go in that fight.
He's the hardest fight in the instance if you get the lining up wrong, because it does so much damage. He's the easiest one if you get the lineup correct, because he does so little damage if you do it right.
Yeah. And also when you, like you mentioned before, like when you don't have any gear though, it still hurts really bad. Even when you're doing the mechanics right.
Oh, I'm aware.
He hurts really bad. I was like, how are you gonna do this fight? It hurts so bad. But then actually now I have some gear. It's like, okay, the dot isn't as bad, which is similar to a dungeon we're not talking about on this podcast tonight. But Spires of Ascension, the last boss, you had to pick a bunch of spears up.
That damage.
But the dot that ramps up, I thought that was going to be impossible for us. But when you have a little bit of gear, it's not.
Yeah, it's a mechanic check too, right? Like they basically have these mechanics, and it's like you have to do this. Like there's no getting around it, and I like it because it's like you can't cheese it.
Yes.
Or at least, I mean, I guess you can, but
you can kill this boss. If you don't throw the spear, you might die.
You know, I had to use a spear. I really need to start getting
I was in a pug where a healer grabbed the spear and like threw it, and it just like missed, and so we had people dying because they couldn't stay alive. That was my first week of tanking by myself because my boxes weren't ready to be boxed yet without cam syncs, and I was like, it basically gave me a reality check of why I multi-box.
Yeah, I had the same realization this last week actually. I was pugging Mythic Plus, and I was just like, holy cow, these people are so bad. I'm like, I literally just can't play this game solo exclusively. I just can't. Like this just isn't good.
So a really important piece. Go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say an important piece on these that I have yet to use, and I think they're Inspires as well. But there's the spear. You were talking about the spear, but there's like the actual like 20%.
There's the silence orb too.
There's a 20% spear that basically you throw it on whatever, and everything takes 20% increased damage for 16 seconds. I'm not sure if they're in Spires, but I know they're in Necrotic Wake. They're like
Necrotic Wake. There's a ball when you come after the first boss off to your left. That'll silence everything around for 8 seconds. There's a hammer that will stun and do a dot. There's a spear that will do high damage and bleed, and it penetrates through targets. And so, yeah, when you were boxing, I'm like, dude, grab
I know. I was like, I didn't even know these exist, which is the really big issue because I've only experienced these dungeons by doing multiboxing, so I don't pick up on any strats at all, which is a huge bottleneck. I found it
on accident. Like, I saw this glowing thing. I was like, ooh, shiny. Click it. And I saw what it was. I was like, oh shit, that makes these caster guys way easy.
Well, I felt like that was a bad idea because I saw the shiny clicky stuff in Sanguine Depths. There's like these anima canisters, and I clicked it, and all I did was give myself a dot. Like I started taking crazy damage, so I clicked it off. I was like, well, I'm not doing that again.
That's awesome. So Zlock picked Theater of Pain, and I was going to ask, why did he pick this one? Like,
because he hasn't multi-boxed it yet, is why.
No, okay, I haven't, right? But I have done this dungeon like multiple times on like pretty high keys, so I think I've cleared it on 6. I guess that's really not that high because I've done a 10 at this point, but I actually really enjoy this dungeon.
High for week 1, man.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. It is. But I just really enjoy this dungeon. I think it's like a lot of fun. And I think that there's like
multi-boxer.
Right, but I'm also the guy that really enjoyed Underrot, right? So there's like something about like
I love smashing the worms. It was fun.
yeah. So I guess we can get into like each individual fight, but there's like just a lot in this dungeon as you kind of go through it that I think is challenging, but like doable, or at least that's my perception.
Is freaking annoying, but doable. But what really sucks is if one of your boxes gets knocked off the edge and it has to run back, you're like,
it's a very long run back.
Clicky.
Yes.
It sucks. Like when all your really WASDF is bound to other stuff and you have like alt combinations, it's really annoying to run back.
Yeah.
Turns out hardware boxing isn't exactly easy.
It's not as easy.
It was nice when you could just like hit Control-Shift-3 and then like press auto run and then just like go back and then do that again and just move it.
Yeah,
pivot your character, auto run.
IS Boxer setup. I have the G510s, like the old G11 keyboards. So I have the 18 keys on the side. Those are just bound to Windows. I tap it, run. It was so easy.
So I would say overall for this dungeon, right? Is it's doable, it's completable, but I think it's going to be the least. Like it's not a Siege of Morales from BFA, but it's going to be the one that you're not going to do it if you have a choice between 5 keys. This is going to be probably your last choice, and that's just me being. Maybe I'm completely wrong, and it's better than that. I don't want to give anybody like any false hope on it. But
I don't know. Spires of Ascension is another one that I might not lean towards running. Spires and this one might be the two. You're like, if you got another option,
exactly.
These are doable, but don't focus on them.
Yeah. So
I think this is good for melee though.
Have you done this already on boxing? Tone?
I've boxed it, but I have not done it with a melee comp. So I have not done it on Mythic just yet. I did it on Heroic last night.
Okay, cool.
The other 2 nights ago or whatever.
Yeah.
I tried to basically catch up, hit 60.
No, you're totally fine. You did awesome in the time frame.
Well, no, I was trying to do it so I had content for today because I was like, well, I can't be like who I am and not have some kills. So 140 eye level Mythic, here we come.
No, that's really good. It's really good.
So first boss, like, what do you guys do on this?
I think there's supposed to be a kill order. I don't know, but
I just blow the thing up. The one that was nailing me, I killed that thing first.
Yeah, I think when the keys get higher, we're gonna be like, okay, well, shoot, I need to actually like figure out which one I'm supposed to be doing. But is it called Affront to Challengers? You basically walk right in. It's the very first. It's almost the very first thing you do is you fight these 3.
Do you remember the 3 guys you had to kill in that Warlords of Draenor dungeon?
Iron Docks,
it reminds me a lot of that one. Yeah, but that one you had to spread out because there was mechanics.
Yes.
This one, honestly, the first thing that hit me was the tank thing, so I killed that, and then I killed the casters after. That was my strategy.
I got.
And then like move out of bad shit, like WoW 101.
I think we'll learn more on that one. This one overall is not too hard of a fight in the grand scheme of things. The very first one is not too bad.
I was hoping you'd say, "Oh, kill the caster because like it gives bloodlust or something." I'm like, "Oh, I'm an idiot. I'll kill that next time."
I think you're supposed to actually kill the caster first, was what WoW had said, but I don't know. Every time you kill one of them, though, it gives buffs to the other ones. So it could be different for boxing, like how it affects us.
Part of me likes running into a dungeon and like glancing at the dungeon view. Don't even go look at Wowhead and just try it and see what happens.
Oh
like,
no,
fun
it's
to me.
awesome.
I don't even look at the dungeon journal. I just send it.
Which
I try to figure out
like
the abilities every time, and I'm like, oh, this ability does this. I should do this, and then like I just try to learn a new ability every fight, and then if I can't figure it out, then I go to the dungeon journal.
Yeah.
I
And
do
if I
the
can't figure
dungeon
that out, I
journal.
watch a video.
And I look for the little indicator that's role specific. If it doesn't have one, I'm like, fuck it, send it. We'll figure it out.
No, it's good though because actually it's a kind of counter good, right? Because my druids were getting decently geared, and I thought there was one dungeon that was going to be totally impossible, which is the other side. And that dungeon is actually not that bad. Like it's going to be a doable. Okay. The last boss just takes a while for us, but you can optimize it. But it just takes a while. That's the only thing. So when the druids were using the Convoke super high burst, and I didn't get to see any of the mechanics on the first 3 bosses. Like I had no idea what you were supposed to do because I just blew up the
You're
boss.
Such a dick. He's like, I just hit 2 keys. I collect loot. While you're trying to, like,
literally,
it
was awful though because I posted that video to Dualboxing, and like typically, like, I was like, but I don't. The strats will be coming because I need to figure out what the strats are first.
Yeah, strats coming soon when I play a real comp.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I was actually doing the Trinity comp because it kind of forces you to do mechanics on there.
That's why I did it, because you're doing druids. I'm like, all right, I'll try to figure out mechanics with you, and I figured we'll compare and contrast between the 3 of us and others in the community.
Yeah, no, it's
and then
it's gonna be
Gore
really good.
Chop. Can you move, right?
Gore Chop is fun though. Like it is fun, and the
Yeah.
chains come fast, man. Like I've gotten hit as a solo character, which is kind of embarrassing. But like they just appear and then you have to move.
The first time I did that as a solo tank, I looked like such an idiot because I'm like, what the hell is this? I'm like pinned up against the wall the whole time. And so when I did Theater of Pain as a boxer, I like walk in, I'm like, oh yeah, this fucking fight, the chains. I was impressed. I didn't get hit. I was like, really?
That's
Nobody
awesome.
got hit. So it's a fun fight.
Yeah, it's totally doable.
Patchwork meets meat hooks.
Yes, and it's just a little bit, not a little bit, but it has the mechanics to make sure that you can move your team.
He does hateful strikes just like Patchwork used to.
Yeah, I don't even know what a hateful strike is actually.
I think he's a fun fight though, because I mean my impression is that it's like very doable. So doable fights that have a little bit of movement, I'm all about it.
Yeah,
it's not ridiculous movement. There's no click on things. It's just find the hole in the chain, go there, and hurry and find the next one, go there. Otherwise, get stunned and slammed in the wall. I know from experience because I was pinned to the wall the whole fight. The first time I did it.
So the next one on this one is Zav the Unfallen. Zav the Unfallen is I'm trying to blank on which one. Is this the one where
this is where you get thrown
fight each other
to fight yourself.
Okay,
it's awesome. It's the most fun fight to box so far, in my opinion.
I don't have my DPS macro has assist built into it. It's cooked in there. So
does mine.
So I've totally failboated this where whoever got thrown in the pit, they just didn't do anything. They couldn't target the other person.
You can get away with that because you play druids. But for the rest of us,
well, no, I did this one. Did I do this? No, I did it on the shamans, but it was normal, so it wasn't the same still. Too. Yeah.
Well, whoever wins gets like 100% increased damage.
Yeah.
Right. Like so, you're actually like the play or the strategy should be to get someone the buff, and if you get 2 DPS characters, like you're not fighting against another person, so just get one of your characters the buff and get the heck out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
and kill a banner
how
too.
I do it.
Does it? Do you have to run back up after you kill your person, or does it?
No,
pull
it
you back
sucks
up?
you right back up.
Oh, that's so easy. Okay,
it's all done.
Yeah.
So this is what I do. Basically, 2 people get thrown. So far, I've only had the hunters thrown. I haven't seen a tank or a healer.
They don't throw the tank or the healer.
I figured because that would just be madness if a healer or tank got thrown. And so I have assist baked into my assist / DPS keys, right? So what I do is they get thrown in. One of the 2 hunters, I just target one with my tank. I hit my DPS button, but right before I do that, I tap it once so I know that they're assisting. I hit interactive target and try to face. And then I just mash real quick. That hunter dies. They both pop up, keep going. And there's a little bit of meta there. I bet you could probably go like, all right, which is my better item level guy? Make sure he wins the fight. But I honestly
not enough time for all that.
mash.
Yeah.
And then killing the banners is...
What do you have to kill the banners? Like, what do the banners do if you don't kill them?
They snare you.
Okay. Gotcha.
Do they prevent a buff too? I thought they buffed the boss.
That makes sense.
I don't remember.
Because you need to
I just know
dodge
that
this.
I killed them.
You kill the banner.
Yeah.
That's all you need to know. You don't need to know.
2 mechanics, right? There's one where he does like a small frontal cleave, and there's one where he does a big cleave. And if you don't kill the banner, you're snared. And if you don't get out of that at higher keys, it's a one shot.
Yeah. Okay, that's what it is. That makes
Okay.
sense.
So you kill the banner to just a GTFO, right? But what I found is while I'm fighting in the pit, and this is where I was thinking as I was doing this, I'm like, maybe this is when I bring back focus. Set a focus the one that got targeted, so I can kill banners with the hunter up top and the tank. Let the guys in the pit fight, and then flip focus off. Haven't really decided. I'll try it at higher keys. On heroic and mythic, though, I'm assuming non-keyed mythic, you can just do what I was saying, just smash the DPS real quick,
Yeah.
get the buff, and come back up.
So what I'm thinking in the interim, because I also have to figure this out for a couple other fights too, like the Necrotic Wake one, the last boss exiles one of your characters. I'm just going to need just to make another DPS key that doesn't have assist baked into it, is I think the ultimate thing. You just push that button instead of your main DPS button.
So that's how I usually do mechanics like those. I take it a step further, where you have assist. I put in target like all of the random spawns that I need to target, right? So
into it. Okay, gotcha.
whether I'm targeting orbs, right? So that way, in this instance, none of these spawn types are here, but this one thing. So if I mash that button,
yeah,
that guy will hit that thing. But where it gets tricky now that we're not doing software boxing is we're going to, honestly, I think the faster play, if you don't have focus already set up for non-druid teams, is you would hit that button to target the thing, set focus to that, and then have your DPS prioritize DPS and focus, and then just do their normal assist if there's no focus.
I gotcha.
Yeah, I didn't actually think of that. I always thought of using like focus assist, or assist focus rather.
There's one
That's
thing,
a really good idea though.
I know you don't use GSE, but there's one thing else to explore on there, which they've added quite a bit of intelligence to, where on the Gse macros themselves, you can have them activate different tabs based off of what you're doing.
Yeah.
I don't know if they go specifically for a dungeon or a boss fight, but I know like one can be like outdoor, one can be PvP, one can be dungeon, which is kind of cool. It'd be nice if you could even like tailor it.
It'd be nice if you have like, if focus exists, do this. Otherwise, do the other.
Or if you're fighting Zav the Unfallen, target that, like always have this as your first target and then assist. So like if it exists, yeah, you can target that.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll let you do that level. That's too specific. That seems
they kind of can, right? Because there's like the cast at focus exists.
Well, yeah, of course you can do cast at focus, but I'm saying if you go by the name.
True. Yeah. So I got to figure out. They did some modifications where you were able to add a lot more to it, but I'm not sure on that.
So
either way,
there's
some
guaranteed with minimal fidgeting. If you just set up a set focus and then have your DPS the focus target.
Yeah.
I'm using my PvP background. It works, right?
True.
Yeah, I never thought of that, but that's actually
because that's how you can control. I'm mashing the same button, but fucker one is doing the focus. The other two are assisting me.
Yeah. It could work.
I don't know if this is a family-friendly stream. I'm sorry. I'm trying to be on my best behavior.
It's okay. All right. So that's that fight, right? The next fight, Kolster Rock, I would say is the killer of this whole thing. In the grand scheme of things, the last boss is not bad. This is the fight for.
The last boss is almost like, really, I climbed all the way up there for this.
Yes, yeah, the last boss. Yeah, if we wanted to skip to more direct, that basically you can just stack up as a team and then just dodge the mechanics as a team.
Yeah, run away from the sucking into the thing. Don't hit the hand.
Yes, yeah, and then
Kolster Rock, he's interesting.
I think it's a little easier than I was expecting. I'm not sure what it does on normal and heroic though. I don't think. But basically on Mythic, he targets 2 players, and then basically takes their soul. And so that player, you can see who's getting targeted. They'll have a debuff on them. They get stunned for like 3 seconds, it seems like, and then a mimic of that person will run around the little arena you're on. And what you have to do, I thought you had to click on it, but you don't. You have to basically like touch it by like your character like running into it. But it kind of like zigzags and runs all over the place. And you need to do it within a certain time frame, or the character, I think, either becomes mind controlled or dies, one or the other, like that.
It's either damage, death, or mind control. I just remember on that fight, I used Lust.
Yeah.
And at the end of the fight, my Pally and my Priest were the only ones doing damage. And I was like, what the hell happened? And then the boss fell over, and I was like, collect loot, move on to the next one.
It was probably my hardest, because even with the druids, I was not able to burst it down, so I actually had to do mechanics. And it's a little too much. I was hoping there was a way to basically target one of your souls that are running around and then just mash interact with target.
Like, so they would interact with target. Yeah,
so they would run to it, and they weren't doing that, or they were doing it, but it wasn't working. So
you have druids, and you have that like roaring sprint thing that's broken. Just pop that thing and
you could
run around in circles and see if you can hit it.
That's true. You could do that too on there. But then as soon as you get it and you fix it, it seems like 10 seconds later he's like, all right, let's just do this mechanic again.
You know what the real solution to this problem is?
More DPS.
Melee comp.
Yeah, probably.
This is a melee dungeon.
Well,
and we haven't talked about the trash at all.
They don't spawn in the middle though. Do they spawn in the middle? I don't know. They run all over the whole platform, but I guess you could do that though. You could definitely run around. So go ahead.
Well,
you're melee. Who cares? Just run around in circles. Whatever.
Every fight's a melee fight to me, even though I stack on my tank most of the time until I get punished for it. I'm like, oh shit, maybe I should spread out this fight. And sometimes even though I should spread out, I stay stacked because some mechanics are easier to dodge as a pack than they are to try to move one individual character. Because moving an individual character is not as simple as it used to be. Like, it used to be hit the window hotkey, move out of bad stuff, keep doing your thing. Now it's like strategically arrow, so you're out of the bad thing, but the guy next to you didn't move into the bad thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's kind of how I approach some of these fights.
Okay, so Jabbery in chat is actually saying that on that you're supposed to, there's a circle on the ground. You can stand in at the edge of it, and it will trap your mirror so you can quickly get it. Huh.
Oh.
So can anybody stand at that? Or
again, this guy clearly...
I assume you have to do it for your own, and I don't think it gets cast on the healer or the tank, because I didn't even know
so just put the hunters on the end of the platform and go ham. All right.
Yeah.
You should get Jabbery on one of these podcasts. He clearly plays WoW more than the three of us. He's
tried
anything we say.
I tried. He may come on one day. Maybe.
we would love for Jabbery to come on.
Yeah.
We have tried to get him.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Wow. Glad to know I'm second to Jabbery.
No.
I'm just messing with you.
You're like a solid fourth or fifth.
Yeah, as I said, you're like second place. You're not that good. You're like in the last. That's funny.
Yeah, that's kind of the theater. I think also on top of that Kolster Rock boss being tough, the gauntlet to get to him, and then all the little portals you have to jump into, like you mentioned before, if you die on it, the run back.
I love it.
You kill the timer.
I love watching people get launched.
But on top of that, you need to jump through the
key.
portals. Like, you need to go to each portal, and you need to go as a team, because a lot of the portals, when you go to the spot, like, there's already like action
you
happening.
Have to send the tank. So what I do is I click on the tank, and then I do the 4 broadcast mouse click right behind it, so the tank lands and then they land.
Yeah.
I made the mistake of sending. I was like, oh, I'm running back. I'm like, oh, let's click this on my priest real quick, and then I clicked it with my pally, and all of a sudden there's like mobs on my priest. He survived, but it wasn't close. It was
no.
I just like how much movement there is with the like guys that launch the big ass balls. And it took me a really long time to figure out like what I was even watching for. I got like launched the first time. I'm like, oh, okay, there's something to this. And then when I finally like saw it the next time, I was like,
they do like that spreading thing that just knocks everything in a cone in front of them off the platform.
The cone is actually very narrow. It's not that big, so you don't have to move that much, but you do have to pay attention.
Yeah.
And there's multiple of them, so you could have like 2 mobs that are both doing it, and you just have to not get hit. So I'm really excited about this dungeon to box it, even though I know that like it's going to be painful. And even the trash, I think getting to Zav is like pretty bad. Like there's a lot of poison, I think, like a lot of poison AoE that comes out. I might have the order of operations wrong here, but there's a lot of stacking that's required for some of that.
There's a lot of blowing up, getting disease on you. So I've got like one last topic. I know we're like way over time.
It's all right.
But I'm just curious what you guys are doing with covenants. So
struggling.
I went straight up Curian because I leveled my paladin. I saw Divine Toll. I was like, yeah, this is what I'm using. And then when I did my box crew, I was like, well, intuitively, I've learned from when we had like class halls, that sucked because I was in like all these different class halls. And then when we had our own barracks or whatever it's called, right, in Draenor, that sucked as in my own little instance. So I was like, intuitively, I should be the same thing because I don't have to quest a different thing. So I'm like, all right, Curian all the way. Then I started doing research for the hunters, and people are like, oh, no, that one sucks. You don't want that one. The ability is actually better than I think people are giving it credit to, and the priest ability is awesome.
Kyrian is one of the best ones for Hunter at the moment. Kyrian and also Night Fae is good too. Yeah, but they're both ground target AOE, which makes it a little tougher than what it should be.
So again, I just have a cast ability at player, so it drops at my feet. I stack up when I pull the boss. So this is my rotation. Basically, I get clumped up. I smash the button that pops all my cooldowns and lust if I'm going to lust on this one. Otherwise, I hit everything but lust. Start doing my DPS rotation. When the boss comes in, I hit, in this case, it's 6. That drops all my arrows, so now I have the increased crit. And then I've got the Dark Moon cards on all my hunters, so I just pop those for the extra haste, and I just start smashing.
No, that looks like it works.
Really nice. And then because the nice thing is then if I need to spread out, if you spread out, at that point you still get the benefit because it's where the target is. And then if the target moves out of the circle, they still get the benefit for like 4 seconds.
Okay. No, that is good. But I just want to make one little note though. You do realize that Kyrian is kind of like playing Alliance, right? You're one of us now. You're your Alliance.
Yeah. I would be. Can gnomes be paladins yet? Like if we got in there, we're stuck with dwarves.
Maybe Mecha-Gnome. Maybe they should throw a bone and get Mecha-Gnome.
If I could be a gnome paladin, and can gnomes be hunters yet? Like I don't play on this light side.
I don't know if gnomes can be hunters. I know humans. I feel like gnomes might be.
What is the little mouse-looking thing?
The Vulpin? No.
I don't need.
Gnomes can be hunters. Vulpera can be hunters.
Okay, because I don't have a single allied race.
Yeah, they're a lot easier to get now if you want to go down that road. They took a lot of restrictions away.
Like I see the quest pop up, I'm like, time sync, no.
No, yeah. The ratios though, I think were pretty good for some of them for leveling. I think for level that's what it is for leveling. It's decent.
Yeah, I play trolls because I'm a troll. Plus, I get the haste buff.
It is good. It is good. No, for Covenant, I've really struggled. I thought I was going to go Kyrian on a bunch of them. I think I still want to, but all my comps are not Kyrian. They're either Necrolord, Venthyr, or Night Fae. So
I did Night Fae for Druids for obvious reasons.
Yeah, it's really nice.
That's almost mandatory if you're boxing. It's just stupidly good.
The Kyrian one is also extremely good.
It's not nearly as good. I started out as Kyrian with Druids.
But you can't stack the buff though. Like you can't spread it out properly on there.
You can share it between two, but you can't. It's kind of weird.
Yeah. It's just so it's.
When my kids and I were playing Shadowlands, we all played Druids and we all went Kyrian. And so like I've got 2 12-year-olds running around as boomkins, and I'm like, just hit Starfall and cast buttons. And they're like, this is awesome.
So you're pulling them away from the Fortnite area? They're converting.
Not really. No. My one kid apparently doesn't like WoW and just doesn't tell me yet. It's that whole fatherly approval thing.
Aww.
My other kid, he seems to be in it. We'll see. That's what his mom claims. He claimed it was fun when we tried it, but last time he was here, I was like, "Hey, you want to play WoW?" He's like, "No, I'm going to play Fortnite." I was like, "Wow, you suck." He's like, "But we could play Black Ops." I was like, "All right,
the happy medium."
Yeah. So the other thing with why I brought up Covenant is the Paladin build that I'm running. It's stupid. It's broken, and we probably shouldn't broadcast this on the internet, but I'm going to do it anyways. So you get the Shadowgast Helm that has Avenging Shield, has a 35% chance to have its cooldown instantly reset. Then you have Divine Toll. You get the talent, I can't remember the name of it, I told it in Discord, where the damage you do from your shields, none of your shields do more, but then you get a damage absorb.
Yeah.
Then you need to go farm a Blood Splattered Scale. That drops, I believe, off Hakar in one of the dungeons.
As the other side, yeah.
Yeah, it hits into the other side. That thing does AoE damage and gives you a huge shield.
Okay.
Then you get, are they called conduits? What are those things with the soul binds?
Yep.
Yeah, the conduits.
So then there's a conduit that has a 40% chance. Then if it's green, it's 40%. If it's blue, it's 44%. I haven't seen purple yet, so I'm not sure what its percentage is.
At the end of the day, when it gets super ramped up, it's a 96% chance. When you get when you get the super high level item of it, it ramps up pretty high.
Because
there's basically like down the line.
I don't know. I was doing the talent calculator. Yeah, it gets really
resets. High. So when you throw it, it has a chance to cast your shield a second time. on the target.
For three shields, I think, something like
I
that.
I thought it did 3 additional ones,
Yeah,
so
it's
it like
three
throws the
different-
shield 4 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So you can see how broken this setup is.
Yeah, I use it.
And then in
It's good for
Torghast,
holy too.
dude, in Torghast, I get like all these abilities give me all these benefits to Divine Toll. Divine Toll is
Really?
stunning stuff. It's insane.
Huh.
Like
Yeah.
I soloed layer 3 with like little to no problem as a prop pally and got my legendary. Then I saw on the forums people were saying that there's adjustments and nerfs. I get paladins are broken, but Divine Toll is like the secret sauce to prop pallies right now.
Yeah, it's Divine Toll, and then you've got Wings, and there's a lot of abilities in Torghast that buff the hammer of the whatever the execute is.
Righteous.
Yeah,
Or Hammer of
think
Wrath.
so.
Hammer of Wrath.
Yeah.
That's
Hammer of Wrath. That's what it is.
Righteous is stun.
So there's like one that makes it so when you cast Judgment, Hammer of Wrath can be cast. There's like another
one
that gives you
when
4
pop
charges.
wings- there's one when you pop wings, it throws your shields out because it does Divine Toll, and when your wings fade, it throws the shields out again.
That's
Just
another
for
good one. Yeah,
measure. That sounds like a lot
Yeah.
of fun, though.
you pretty much have like 3 buttons in like Torghast as a prop pally.
I
It's like
can't wait to see him do 5 pally Torghast. It's going to be hilarious to see on a stream.
That's one thing about the Druids. So the Druids' anima powers are not that exciting overall, comparatively. So
And then I want to see when Zonk.
Did you watch your arena video, dude?
Yeah, it's not that good.
It's literally just
everybody-
convoke spirits. You press one button. It's like here's one clip.
No,
it's like convoke spirits.
I have
And
a
then like
highlight,
it cuts to
though.
another video. It's just convoke spirits, and it's like
He's
one
like,
dies.
guys, I need new headphones. This Druid game's hard. Casually buys AirPod Maxes, hits Convoke Spirit, wins the internet.
No. So what happened though is there is a highlight clip where I used Convoke and nobody died, and I said, "Oh shoot, what do I do now?" Like, and I actually won the match,
Yeah.
luckily. But there's a lot of those where I end up losing.
Oh no, I hit Starfall and I won.
It's
Like, when we
arenas
get
are tough
Zoff
though.
Boxing, it's going to be fun too to see what he does, because like I feel like we can get him to experiment. Like, hey, jump on the grenade, go play this stupid comp that we think on paper is going to work, and then he'll come
God, you
back
got me
with the
pegged
numbers.
so well.
No, you're,
That's
gonna,
exactly
you're,
what
do,
I feel
you're
like.
doing priests. Wootenblast is doing rogues because I don't know. Somebody's got to
Did
do
you
the
see that
rogues.
rogue nerf people are pretty upset about?
Yeah, I didn't even start
Well,
leveling rogues.
I don't know if you watched any of the PvP video or things where I actually lost, but I'm pretty sure the rogue could have taken out all 3 of my druids if they wanted to.
Well, yeah, because he touched your druid OPness.
Oh Jesus. Oh,
I was
man.
there. I was.
I
in the
know.
stream.
I'm never saying it again. Yeah. So that's
But like, is there something I'm missing? Like, are you guys running any of these other covenants, and you're like, dude, you're missing out? Because like, I was watching you right before this with your pallies, dropping the red stuff on the ground from Revan.
Yeah,
Guard
I
or
think
whatever the
so.
hell they're called.
I think for multiboxing, Venthyr, the Divine Toll from Kyrian looks like a lot of fun, and also it's a 1 minute cooldown, so it's awesome. You just chuck it out whenever it's on cooldown, and you'll have it up for every boss fight because every boss fight's
And
gonna
if
take.
you get that trinket I told you about,
Yeah.
it's a 2 extra survivabilities, because Divine Toll gives me an absorb, the trinket gives me an absorb, so I can use that as an extra set of defensives.
Yeah, so that's good on those pieces. I don't know. I guess because I've used the Venthyr ability in other ones. Like it's just basically just for boss fights. It turns your boss
I saw
fights.
you drop like it's like Healing Rain for paladins is what it looked like.
Yeah. It's basically, or it's like a giant consecrate, but it does damage as well as it heals. And the conduit ability for it, like so your Divine Toll throws it out extra ones. The conduit ability basically causes the dot on the ground to do a second dot, and you can ramp that up to almost to do the same thing as the current one. So I think it ticks right now for like.
That could be interesting.
Yeah, it takes for like, let's say like 800 damage, right? So you'd have a double 800 going, and in our current, and obviously when you gear up, it's gonna be a lot more. So you're pumping out quite a bit of DPS on top of that.
And then like, Zoc, are you playing a Holy Paladin right now, or are you playing something else?
That's my solo character that I've been
Yeah,
playing.
that's what I
Yeah.
figured. So did they get rid of the play style of like a Holy Paladin's a melee healer, or is it still a
No,
thing?
that's still it.
You're still doing something. Yeah, it's all melee. It seems.
Yeah,
like.
you even have a talent where you just pop wings and your like melee abilities do healing, and it's like actually
Yeah,
like
That's
ridiculous
what they
healing.
added in like BFA and Legion, and I thought it was really fun. I was just curious.
It's
if they
super fun to
stuck it.
play.
Yeah.
Like right now, I haven't played anything for healing except for Resto and Priest in a while.
So
I used to have an awesome multi-box monk setup in Draenor. It was like auto healing for days. It was sweet with a little jade statue. It was so fun.
I've always wanted monks to work. They're
Remember when they had the melee healing where you're almost playing like a fighting game and your damage was healing people? Like that spec was tons of fun.
fist weaving, yeah.
Fist weaving
weaving
is
was
back
fun.
now. It's still a thing, yeah.
I started a monk like many years ago named Fistweave LOL, and I never leveled it. It's my bank character now, but I'm glad Fistweave's back on the menu
for obvious reasons.
Obviously,
I see there's a theme here.
Yeah.
To answer your question though, I was actually playing double paladin 3 hunters last season, and I was actually using a holy paladin up to like +7s, +8s.
Because I experimented with one and I just like couldn't. For melee teams, totally, but like that's why
it has to be on a melee team. I think you're underutilizing it otherwise.
Yeah.
You could kind of get away with Glimmer, but you, I don't know. You just don't really get quite as many.
You still need a melee for Glimmer though too.
Yeah, because I saw you doing some stuff, and I was just curious because you're playing a paladin. Melee, it works great. I didn't really find it as a great healer if I have casters, so that's why I was just curious. And then like, I wasn't sure if you're playing other healers. Because are there like other healer covenant abilities that we're not aware of? Because like the Kyrian one's really good.
No, I'm using Kyrian. Divine Toll's like amazing in general.
Yeah,
like at Lawlshawk.
It does
so
like
for Glimmer,
massive AOE healing too.
Yeah, I haven't played around with the covenants on priest too much. I'm leveling a priest. I have one at 53, but I've kind of put it on the back burner while I've been working on leveling my multi-box team. My multi-box team is at like 40 something.
It's coming along.
How are you leveling? Are you doing like Joe multi-boxer round robin while you wait on hardware?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
How much do you want to kill yourself?
It's not that bad actually for leveling. Like it definitely feels. It definitely doesn't like feel good. From like a perspective of like I can't do what I used to be able to do.
I press a key, it sends a key to the window. I release the key, it swaps the window, and then so you're like mashing really fast, and you're getting like epilepsy from the window swapping.
So it actually doesn't have to swap the window.
Oh, because you can do
the way I have it set up is I push it and it round robins to the next screen, but the screens don't move.
So they added round robin. I just saw the first week people had like. I press a key, everything's cycling, and I'm sending keys. I was like, this is never going to work.
Yeah, I think it took some time to kind of like, which is
it keeps evolving too.
Yeah, it needs to mature a little bit more. Yeah,
I keep looking. His GitHub repos are like getting bigger. I looked at his code. I'm like, this is looking cool. So you're telling me now it's like, hey, I've got my layout. I press the button and it just round robins like IS box or round robin keys.
Yeah. I basically like really just spam. I spam one button. Yeah, I mean it's not like. Right, because it still has to focus each screen, so it's like it's not.
It's a 4 to 5 second round trip to DPS.
It's really not even that high. It's probably like a 1 second round trip.
Oh, so if you use a keyboard, mash really fast, and you have no delay in your keyboard in your rotation, you're doing it like.
Well, that's where GSE like falls like way off the face of the earth. So if I was not using GSE, it would probably be pretty efficient. But I am. So the real challenge is movement, right? So I've pretty much figured everything else out.
Yeah, you're you don't need it.
Yeah,
right.
That's
for
why
questing,
it's really good for I think a leveling, probably like even like farming, herbing, things like that. Like
yeah.
With it, yeah.
Story mode, this expansion was awesome, and unfortunately, I set my guys up on Fate, which I think is slower. If I do my next team, I'm gonna do story mode all the way through as a boxer, see how bad it is.
No. It wasn't bad at all, honestly. And I think moving forward, I'm gonna put my team.
Well, I think it's more efficient, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, agreed. It seems like it's faster to do the storyline.
Seems pretty sweet, and so if you guys that are round robining until you get to hardware, do the story mode, you'll level just fine.
Yeah.
And then I'm sure some people are gonna be able to push it where they're gonna do like maybe heroics, but I don't think people are gonna get past heroic that way.
When the gear catches up, I think they will. But yeah, they're gonna maybe find some creative ways to do like
are there movement. Well, there's fast swaps though, right?
I think so.
Yeah, no, I mean, just imagine like everything in IS Boxer without the broadcasting, right? So, and remapping. So you can't remap. That's like another like tenant. I asked Flax, I'm like, hey, can I like remap keys? Like, is that even possible? And he's just like, he just flat out told me no.
So we're using SK650s. So you can put your own remapping into the keyboard onboard memory.
Yeah.
I could. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
you just have to know your limitations.
Yeah. But so if you're like, you have the benefit of swapping to a single slot when it gets called for a master in what you're doing. So you can move an individual character really easy. You don't have to broadcast like how we have to unbind all of our movement keys on the boxes.
You don't have to worry.
So there's
about
like
that.
a trade-off here.
Yeah, there is
That's
a couple.
Cool.
There's a couple items. And I think it's probably good to look at it, like review it again, maybe in a month or two to see how it's gone.
That's kind of what I figured. Let it progress.
Yeah, because hardware's come the same way too. Like in a month now, we've gone from nothing to about a month and a half now. We've gone from nothing to full blown boxing. So we'll see how it goes. But either way, yeah, I think we'll call it there, guys.
There's some potential there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I think that's a good segue to another episode later for a follow-up where Zoc shows his setup or something.
I'm interested.
I have a video. There is a video that's kind of out there. It's long. I tried to make it quick, but and it doesn't actually show anything in action, but it kind of walks through the setup to like a very low level.
Yeah, it's tough to.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's tough to get like that. You know, this is good though. I'm happy. I think we'll continue this. We'll try to.
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
I think this is a good idea. Thanks a lot for letting me be on this and just talk nerddom with you guys.
No, I like it. It's good. I think it's a good formula. It's working. But I'll go with that. Thank you, Toned. Thank you, Zoc.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Have a good stream.
That was episode 7. All right.
Thanks, guys.
Yep. See you guys.